Da, 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 da. Hey, welcome back to Lightning Cave episode 11. I think this is lockdown part 4. I mean, who knows? I think we've been inside for 4 weeks. This week is just a quick review of Final Fantasy Remake because it's all I've been playing, and all most of us have been playing. There's a general consensus from the team. I think this year it's the game that's been played by most of the team. I think about half of us have got it, and it's getting between 8s and 10s from all of us. So I'm just going to give you my thoughts. Like I said, it's quite quick because I'm only about 15 hours in. I don't want to do a full review until I've completed it. But I said last week about how I'd never played the original. I was looking forward to playing this. So yeah, I love it. The combat system is pretty identical to 15, and I didn't like it in 15, but now I love it. I don't know if it's because you feel like you've got more control. You can switch between the characters. You can control the summons more. It feels a bit more tangible. It feels like they've properly blended the turn-based system with a kind of more of an action game. And yeah, you have complete control over what you're doing. You have to build up your bars to then choose an attack or a spell, try and choose the right attack to take down the enemy. You need to actually block and dodge enemy attacks, or you'll get damaged or stunned or put to sleep or whatever. And you have to use it cleverly, switching between the players, make sure you are playing as everyone to build up their own bars to then go and attack the enemies. And it just makes me want to keep fighting and doing combat the whole time. That's the only downside, is that I know it's a JRPG, I know it's a Final Fantasy game, but there's a hell of a lot of cutscenes and walking around, and I feel like I'm gonna have to wait quite a while to actually get to the combat. Now, I remember there was one kind of gaming session I had on it when I played about 3 hours, and I think I had one battle, and I know it's building up story, and it's making me more and more interested in characters that I originally didn't care about, but I want to just have a lot more combat. I hope there's a section of the game where there's an open world part or something where I can just go and keep fighting and leveling up and grinding, because I want to use this amazing combat system they've built more. There's a lot of kind of JRPG-ness to it. So you're doing little missions for kids, running around trying to find kids, doing like detective missions, trying to solve these mysteries, and doing random NPC quests. There's also like combat assessment quests from this kid who I've forgotten his damn name now, but he basically gives you these tasks to go and you carry out X amount of research on monsters to see how they fight, and then you unlock more materia. In case you don't know anything at all about Final Fantasy VII, the whole game is kind of about the materia and the Earth's life force being sucked up by humanity, and you play as this team called Avalanche, who are trying to take down Shinra, who are really bad people, taking all the life force away, and then this life force gets turned into materia, which you can then use in your items and everything else. And this is how you in this one it's how magic's explained. So you use the materia to cast thunder and blizzard and all that sort of thing. You have to equip that to your weapon, and it's like a little orb, and then you upgrade that particular sphere. So then what you can become, Blizzard can become the more powerful version of Blizzara, the same with all the rest of them. And then there's not just that, there's materia for dodging, there's materia for summons, and all sorts. And I really like that. Also, the combat, sorry, not combat system, the leveling up system is coupled with your weapon. Okay, so each weapon has its own upgrades tier and its own kind of it's like a sphere grid, but they're like universes. It's going to sound weird if you haven't seen it, but basically you go in, you upgrade your weapon, and that weapon upgrades with you as you use it more. Each weapon has its own ability, and if you use it enough times, the ability, you can use it with the character without having the weapon. So the idea is you choose maybe your favorite weapon, go through and upgrade it, but then switch out to gain abilities from other weapons, and this can be done for everybody. You can obviously play around with what weapons you want to have, like better defense, better magic, better attack, etc. And I have found that apart from with Cloud, I've kept the Buster Sword with. You can see it there. I've used everyone else's kind of different alternative weapons and tried to upgrade them and tried to explore and see what works best. Yeah, so you need to use everybody's abilities and weapons and spells to benefit the whole team. You need to have like someone who's a white mage healing, and also they can be coupled as well, someone doing lots of damage. You need Barrett doing long range attacks. You need someone like Cloud who can go in close and smash them up, and he is the most fun to use. And everyone has these kind of special abilities. So like Cloud's is switching his stance to become more attack focused. Aerith is like she builds up magic and has like one almighty kind of powerful magic attack, and it's really cool. Um, and then you've got this story which is basically about Cloud deciding he doesn't want to be part of Shimmer anymore, going to help this Avalanche group who are rebelling against the system. And it follows Cloud's story, and lots of different women who seem to be very interested in Cloud all the time, and a kind of love story with Aerith as well. And he's constantly got these visions of Sephiroth, who's supposed to be dead, but he's trapped inside Cloud's head. And as we all know, Sephiroth comes back, and you're going to have an almighty battle. So like that's kind of where I am. I'm enjoying this. I'm doing everything I can. I'm not rushing through areas. I'm doing all the side quests. I'm enjoying the world that's been built, and it's so well made. And as you expect any Final Fantasy game, I think I said last week that I think every Final Fantasy game is the best looking of its generation, generally speaking. And I feel the same with this. It's so well made. The graphics are gorgeous. The landscapes are brilliant. There's enough of although I've only played a few hours of the original, I just got to Don Corneo, and I actually did that in the original. I think that's where I got to, and there's enough to recognise the same areas, but they've changed it in ways where there's more puzzles or there's different bad guys or different lines of speech. Um, I think possibly that's why there's so many cutscenes, because in the original there were so many text cutscenes. They kind of just obviously voiced it over and gone through it with it that way. But it's brilliant. I think you have to remember, like, it is Japanese. There are going to be weird things in there, like a kid dressed up as a Moogle, for example, and some like kind of annoying characters. Like I found Aerith really annoying at first, but she's starting to grow on me more, and that's why I don't want to give it a full review now. I want to wait until I've played it a lot more, which I will. It is all I'm playing pretty much. And right now I'm sat about an 8. There's more I'd like, but I think that may come with time. There's things that I want from the game. I think that it's clear to me there's more and more combat along the way. There's more kind of mixing with the NPCs, having to do more tasks, not just about the main group who they've introduced in the first sort of 10 hours. And you're all going to meet back up at some point, and take on Shimmer together. The boss fights are awesome. Each one is taking 2 or 3 goes. They are genuinely difficult. You have to think about what you're doing, about what spells you're using, about what parts of the robot you're attacking. And I don't know. I mean, it's hard to follow. There's certain bits and pieces I don't love. Like there's too much walking around, too much talking, but it's building a story up, which I am really interested in. So is it a good thing? I don't know. So like I said, currently it's got amazing gameplay, interesting characters. It's really well made. There are just a couple of I just like a bit more pace. So I'm sat at 8 at the moment. I'll probably be doing another part 2 review on this when I've done another 10 or 20 hours by next week. So all I can say is it's probably a perfect game to get you through lockdown. It's not too heavy and difficult. You can enjoy it. You can choose your own difficulty level depending on your kind of skill level. I've gone for normal, which I'm finding a really good balance. Some stuff's really difficult. Some of the kind of boss grinding fights are easy, but none of it is just running through and hit them once and they're dying. Yeah, highly recommend it, and I will be back with more of a meaty review. Thanks for tuning in. Final Fantasy.